want it to flood. Nobody wants to start a business if you think it might flood in your community. So I think that's a big thing.
Thank you. And Mr. Murray, the question is now yours. I'll repeat it. Flooding, drainage, and street conditions continue to impact our neighborhoods. How would you prioritize which projects receive funding, and how would you advocate effectively for your district within the legislature?
So I think the projects that affect the most people should receive the most funding. And right now, actively in City Park, that's one of the things we're actually doing. Although City Park borders the district, it's technically not in it. It's such a huge swath of, largely untouched land. It is perfect to soak up a lot of this water. And in the master plan, that's one of the things we're actually doing right now. So that it will certainly benefit the district and surrounding areas of New Orleans as well. We need to make sure that we are also keeping our catch basins clean, all those types of things. I know those are more so city issues, but we need to. It literally falls on all of us, to make sure that we keep our catch basins clean, pick up our trash, those type of things, clog our catch basins. So we need to make sure that we're vigilant in that as well.
All right, so let's shift a little bit and talk about economic development and public investment. Mr. Murray, this question is yours, and you'll have 75 seconds to answer. How would you advocate for targeted public investment, such as infrastructure, workforce training, or small business support in your district? And how would you ensure those investments benefit existing residents?
The state loves to parade the Superdome, the arena, and all the convention center, and all these types of things. But people actually work these venues. These venues do not exist without people. Those people come from New Orleans. A large amount of them come from the district. We need to make sure that we are investing in those communities, providing grants to small businesses, as well as making sure. I'm trying to blank on. Can you repeat the question again, ma'am? I'm sorry.
How would you advocate for targeted public investments such as infrastructure, workforce training, or small business support? And how would you ensure that these investments benefit your existing residents?
Yes, ma'am. So we need to make sure that we are investing in the Delgados. Right now, Delgado has a 2-year program that allows you to go to a 4-year university. We need to make sure we're investing in that. We also need to invest in the future. We know technology is the future. We do have a tech lab at campus at UNO that we need to really invest in, as well as we have a huge, I mean, ground shaking opportunity to better the district with the port down in Violet. We have the industrial canal. We really need to use it.
And
go ahead.
Sorry, are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Green, the question is yours, and I'll repeat it. How would you advocate for targeted public investments such as infrastructure, workforce training, or small business support in your district? And how would you ensure that those investments benefit existing residents?
First, I will make sure that we try to pass the minimum wage to become $15. I think that's important for our residents. Being that the city went on board with the $15 minimum wage, meaning all city employees, anybody who works for the city they get paid $15, or any city contractor. And I think we need to follow suit statewide. That's going to put some more money in everybody's pocket, make everybody feel good, and it's going to increase economic development. And then also will advocate to make a state level liaison that helps small businesses grow from the state level, to advocate for a person from the state to be a liaison to help businesses grow in New Orleans, and also support small business grants to start up. I think we need to fund that department better to increase people wanting to start small businesses in New Orleans. And then also we want to make sure of workforce training and develop our workforce training. I believe in trade jobs. Everybody doesn't have to go to college after. Trade jobs are good, and want to develop that workforce training.
So let's shift a little bit to housing and neighborhoods. Mr. Green, how do you balance affordable housing, home ownership, and neighborhood stability while also preventing displacement?
Okay, as a property management consultant, this is kind of what I do now. So I go out and I meet different people that are investors that have houses and they want to rent them out, and I go get clients for them, and make sure that something, and I'll give them rates that will suffice and make people want to stay in the house for long periods of time and at affordable rates. So that's something I can do. I do now, and I think it's great that um, we want to be affordable at the same time while still making sure that is enough affordable housing, but also making sure that homeowners are not going out of business based on the high insurance, because that's why they're raising the rents to the roof. So we do have to. It falls back to actually making it affordable and cutting those insurance costs for affordability when it comes to renting in New Orleans.
Thank you. And Mr. Murray, now your response. How do you
So
balance affordable housing, home ownership, and neighborhood stability while preventing displacement?
it's a multi-level issue that you have to follow. There's not one singular thing. We need to get our homeowner insurance under control. There are a lot of people who are able to buy homes, can pay a mortgage, but they cannot pay $10,000 a year on top of that mortgage. Um, so that's one thing we need to get control of. Getting that lowered will help people significantly. I'd also really would like to get more of the jobs. Right now, I met with Port of NOLA. Um, we in the district, the average person who works at the port makes 80,000 a year. With this new port that will be down in Violet, we are primed. I mean, absolutely primed to get more of those jobs. And these are jobs with benefits. These are jobs that pay a very, very more than livable wage, and it helps build wealth as well as home ownership. So I would really want to make sure that we take advantage of all the opportunities we have in surrounding areas.
Thank you. Let's talk a bit about public safety, health, and quality of life. And this will be again 60 seconds. What does public safety mean beyond policing? And what role should the state play in expanding healthcare, mental health services, and support for seniors and people with disabilities? It's kind of a multifaceted question. So if you need me to repeat it, let me know. Mr. Murray? Yes.
Okay, can you repeat that? I'm sorry. I thought it was
Sure.
screens first.
That's okay. What does public safety mean beyond policing? And what role should the state play in expanding healthcare, mental health services, and support for seniors and people with disabilities?
So public safety is way more than just policing. Public safety is keeping, we've had a lot of buildings collapse over, throughout New Orleans in this last few years. That's a public safety issue. If you've been downtown, buildings are literally falling apart and things, you can't walk close to them. That's a public safety issue, as well as our streets, flooding. Public safety is way more than just policing. It is a multifaceted issue. We need to make sure that we are asking community what they need, and we're using the best practices that are fact-based and stat-based to work to other places to make sure that we are making sure that the community is safe. That is code enforcement. That is policing. That is making sure our streets are in a decent space. Street lights. All of those things play a role. Can you repeat the second part of the question? I know it was a kind of a 1-1A situation.
Yes. And then what role should the state play in expanding healthcare, mental health services, and support for seniors and people with disabilities?
The state should expand Medicaid. We rolled it back to my dismay and a large amount of people in the district as well as across the state. I think the state owes a duty to us to help us get medical care. It actually becomes cheaper when they do so. Especially our elders. Our elders are often on fixed income. There is no go get a job or make more money or those types of things. These people they've done their part. They've done what we've asked them to do as far as for the American dream and doing, playing their role. We need to take care of them. We need to make sure they're in their homes. We need to make sure they're in safe housing facilities, and making sure that they're able to get their medicine at a reasonable price and see the doctors and the experts that they need to see, as well as the disabled. We need to make sure that we have more handicap friendly venues. The district is severely lacking in those. I've torn two Achilles, unfortunately, at different times. So I've been on a scooter, so to speak. And I can tell you getting around the district was very tough. So we need to make sure that we're really keeping in mind those who are disabled because they are people, they are citizens, they have rights, they deserve to be treated just like everyone else.
Thank you. And Mr. Green, the question is now yours. What does public safety mean beyond policing? And what role should the state play in expanding healthcare, mental health services, and support for seniors and people with disabilities?
Okay. So definitely we need to make sure the lights are on, the street lights. That's going to help with policing. Also, we have to reduce blight and eyesores in the community. And then also with infrastructure, we have to invest heavily in our infrastructure to make sure it's safe infrastructure, it's reliable infrastructure, and it's long lasting. And then last but not least, we need a complete justice system. And what I mean by that is the police working with the DA working with the judges working with the sheriff, and so on and so forth. Everybody must work together, and so we can have a complete justice system, and everybody kind of is on board with each other, and we're not working against each other. And I think that'll keep our residents safe from a different standpoint.
And then what role do you think the state should play in expanding healthcare or mental health services or support for seniors and people with disabilities?
I think the state should play a big role, especially like I mentioned earlier, for the board I'm on called Gulf Coast Social Services for the last 3 years. We're one of the largest social service providers in the state of Louisiana, and we provide various services to veterans, elderly, people with disabilities. That's our main focus, and children. We place them in foster care. Right now we have over 52 children in foster care. They come in and out, but during the holidays for Christmas, we had 28 placed. And then we are also rolling out a new program, early childhood education, to address our infant mortality rate that we have in Louisiana. It is one of the highest rates in the nation. And we're going to be able to go in home and help new mothers from 0 to 5 years old with their children. So I'll say invest in the nonprofit I serve on. We get state funding a lot, but we don't have enough because we do that. So I'll say invest in nonprofits that cover those areas.
And so, right along those lines, thank you both for your responses. A question on education and youth opportunity. So, would you agree, yes or no, that children in District 97 have equal access to quality education today? And what would you push for at the state level to support schools, career training, and job pathways? So, kind of a two-part question. You can, take it how you feel.
I think that's a double-edged sword. I think our children have the access, but then some people feel that we don't for the education. But I think we're on the right path, and I think on the state level, we do need to do a better job at focusing on our early childhood education. 'Cause I think that's something we really do not do a great job of. We don't catch our children early enough. We have a lot of outside programs, Nord, and different programs that I think we should fund more so our children can have places to go after school, before school, during school. They have mentors that come to school. There's a program called Silverback Society that they go in and talk to the school and mentor them. And I think we should kind of do more investing in that. And then the schools will catch up and they'll play itself.
And Mr. Murray, same question. Do you agree, yes or no, that children in District 97 have equal access to quality education today? And then the second part is, what would you push for at the state level to support schools, career training, and job pathways?
No, I don't think we have equal access. I think if you ask most parents in the district if they feel that they have the same access to certain parts of Uptown, uh, they would not agree. So until that's the case, then it's not equal, just by definition. I think to improve our schools, we need to give our teachers permanent raises. We have some great teachers. Um, we need to keep them here. The stipends that we've been doing, kind of piecemealing it back, here and there, they don't trickle down to our teachers, and that's not what our teachers have wanted. We should give people what they want. I want to be paid the way I've always been paid, and teachers have told me they want to be paid the way they've always been paid, and this stipend deal is not what they've done historically. I think we need to keep supporting programs like Son of a Saint, Silverback Society. I'm a Nord coach. I can tell you every day, when we're in season, those kids look forward to coming to see us, getting out some energy, and they learn a lot of life lessons. They make friends from, different parts of the city, that, kids that they don't necessarily go to school with. I think we really need to make sure that we're investing in those programs, as well as reaching out to our nonprofits who do this work without any pat on the back. My fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, does this. I know all the D9 orgs do this as well. We're on Eastern Star. My Zulu brothers, we do it as well. We need to support all of those organizations who are already doing that type of work.
All right, gentlemen, and we appreciate your responses to all of these questions. I have one final question before we wrap up this evening. And each of you have stated previously that insurance was really ranking high upon your your platform priorities. But in addition to insurance, can you please tell us one or two other platform priorities that you have during this candidacy? And we'll start with you, Mr. Murray.
So as I stated, I'm a T-ball coach and I'm a father as well. I have a 5-year-old. One of my big things is early education. We have seen the cuts, and I mean, they're drastic cuts to higher ed across the state, and especially to the TOPS program. That disproportionately affects districts like 97. That disproportionately affects our kids. If we are not going to make sure they get over the finish line through college by supporting them there, we need to make sure we get them off on the best possible foot early on. And no matter who you ask, the left, the right, the center, everyone says that if you send a child to early education, their life trajectory gets so much better, much more likely to own a home, not be incarcerated, all those types of things. And what was the second part? You said two issues?
One or two other
Okay, two issues. I gotcha.
platform priorities.
So I also want to fight the brain drain. We are losing people at an alarming rate, and we're losing our best and brightest. And again, that it's happening across Louisiana, but it disproportionately affects places like District 97. We are losing our engineers, our accountants, our doctors, our nurses. We need to keep those people here. Keeping those people here will help so many problems, not solve them, but help so many problems. You're going to have a better tax base. You're going to have better schools. You're going to have lower crime. You're going to fight gentrification by keeping people, your high earners here. You keep the culture alive. There's just so many things that we could do if we keep those people home. And so and a lot of those people come home 7 or 8 times a year. I'd like to give them some incentive, financial incentive to be here, whether it's a tax break, a stipend and closing costs, whatever the case may be. But we need to keep our best and brightest here.
All right, and Mr. Green, the question is yours. Aside from insurance, which has been previously mentioned, if you could list for us one or two other priorities of your platform and your candidacy.
And that is to address our fair share that the city of New Orleans receives for being the cash cow of the state. We make all the money here and we put all the money out, but we do not receive our fair share. And I want to make sure that the state, and I will advocate that we need our fair share of funding from the state of Louisiana, being that we burden all the cost to house all their entities, meaning we burden the police costs, the fire, and EMS, and it puts us at a deficit. And that's why our budget is like it is now. And we're having a budget issue because we do not get our fair share of funding for burdening these costs. And it's costing the city now. It's catching up with us when we have a tragic terror attack now, where we have to put police and protection on every corner. And we're burdening this cost now, and we're feeling it now because something unfortunate happened. So I want to advocate to make sure we get our fair share and to put that in the right places in regards to infrastructure, public safety, and early childhood education. And that gets me on to my next point after the fair share. But I want to make sure our early childhood education. I'm a father. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I want to make sure that we are spending a lot of time and money on our youth. They are the future. At the end of the day, they're the future. And as of now, I wouldn't say we're setting the best example and giving them the best resources that are possible. And with that being said, we must fund early education programs, all programs, all nonprofits that help youth. And I want to make sure that we do fund those programs, and they will eventually help our youth to get to where they need to be. And I think it'll keep the public safe. It'll help with public safety. It'll keep from a lot of people from being incarcerated, and it will go a long way if we just invest in our youth. And I think that's something we need to spend more time on, especially because of the cuts we have been having. I want to kind of go back to increasing that.
Well, I'd like to thank you both this evening for giving us your time and joining us on this forum. We appreciate both of your responses. And thank you again on behalf of the voters east of the Industrial Canal.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, for those who are watching streaming, please stay tuned as the candidates for District 100 enter into the space. Okay, we will be starting shortly, waiting for the candidates for District 100 to enter into the space. So those who are viewing us live streaming, just hold one moment and we'll be back.